When I think of Walnut Hills, there's just a scale of people who live around each other. And I think what I hope to do is to cultivate a scenario where they live with each other. Because it's easy to just condemn folks into a cycle of hopelessness. But it's harder to say, how can I be there for you and how can I help lift you up? I'm Christina Brown. I'm a 28-year-old Columbus native who moved to Cincinnati to attend the University of Cincinnati. Graduated in 2010 and now work for a small nonprofit and reside in Walnut Hills, where I am a resident/board member of the Walnut Hills Redevelopment Foundation. Walnut Hills is a very historical neighborhood. The Harriet Beecher Stowe House is located in Walnut Hills. The Paramount building, which we recently acquired, is located in Walnut Hills. The people who have lived there know about the history of the first Black business district in the city was located in Walnut Hills. One word I like to use is gritty. So if you drive down East McMillan, there's a noticeable change from Kemper to Woodburn. As you start to approach DeSales Corner in East Walnut Hills, it's very polished and very quaint and dainty. But our side is very urban and very gritty, and I think it adds to the character of the neighborhood. So when I think about Walnut Hills, or when I describe it, I think about what I knew the neighborhood to be when I was first introduced to it, and how people thought about Walnut Hills when I said I was going there. There would be a recoil, like, why? Are you safe there? Like, do you know somebody? Are you sure you're not in East Walnut Hills? So I began to pick up on the perception of what the neighborhood was. And now the connotation of Walnut Hills is changing in terms of how people perceive it. And I think that's a positive thing, but I wonder why that is. So my angst comes from not knowing if people devalue the folks who have always lived there. We know that the buildings are coming up and we know that there are stores opening, but my $1 million question is do the people who have always lived here feel like it's theirs? There's a lot of elephants in the room in terms of community development. Some folks will say, we need to be the next OTR, and my response is, no, we don't need to be the next OTR. We are Walnut Hills, and we say that with pride because Walnut Hills has always been a beautiful neighborhood. Other folks just may not have known about that. I was thinking about the other day, how in the world did I end up in Walnut Hills? So my entire world, my introduction to Cincinnati was the University of Cincinnati, so it means that I was in Clifton. And so we're in the African American Cultural Resource Center. This building was opened in 1989, I believe, as a result of student activism. So this is actually the first building I walked into when I visited, or when I got dropped off to stay at the University of Cincinnati. I'm a first-generation college graduate, so my mom and my aunt packed me up from Columbus, moved me here, literally unpacked my bed, put some books on the shelves, put my shoes in order and said, all right, you're in college now, we'll see you later. I don't know if I thought my aunt and my mom were gonna stay a while, but they literally said, we're leaving within 30 minutes of the day there. So I felt really alone and afraid. Not alone in the sense that I would never make friends, but alone in the sense that I have never been away from my family. My family all lives in Columbus for the most part, so no one has actively left the city of Columbus. So in that moment, I was afraid of the distance, but then I was also afraid that I might fail my family. Me being the only person who had the opportunity to quote unquote get away, I know that meant a lot. At that moment, I had to realize what that meant. Like, what is independence at 18? And did I make the right decision? Should I have gone to OSU? Why did they leave so soon? So all of those thoughts were running through my head simultaneously. And when I walked my mother out, she said, hey, there's a building over there that says African American on it. You might find it interesting since you're interested in Black studies. My first day of living at UC, I just opened the door and walked in, and I was greeted by two staff members who told me about the history of this place and what services they offer and how to get involved in something greater than myself on campus. And ever since then, it's profoundly impacted my leadership. One of the goals of this office is to connect the campus with the community. So here, my freshman year is when I learned about leadership. What does leadership look like? What does it mean to be cognizant of different communities while you're leading? How do you lead with authenticity, with cultural respect? So being here actually molded me. I've learned how to fail because of the people in this office, but I've also learned how to grow. So it's been a second part of my family, and I don't think I would have been interested in serving my community if it wasn't for this building. So I graduated in 2010, and after I graduated, or before I graduated, my last 2 years of my undergraduate career, I had the opportunity to do a work-study placement at Frederick Douglass School, which was located in Walnut Hills. So when I actually had the opportunity to leave Clifton and go explore the neighborhood, I learned about not just the history of Walnut Hills, but about the history of disparity in Cincinnati. My first day at Frederick Douglass, I had the opportunity to arguably tutor or babysit these siblings of 3. So one was in kindergarten, the other was in second grade, and the other was in fourth grade. The fourth grader was really sweet. She was very quiet, didn't get into a lot of trouble, was really the leader of her 2 little brothers, and they didn't enjoy that. So my first duty was to go over her English assignment with her. Her demeanor totally changed when we had to start her English homework. So we're going through her assignment, and I'm like, write your name. She's like, no. I'm like, please write your name. We have an hour to get this done. We can start with writing your name. I don't want you to turn your assignment in blank. She said, no. So I'm like, what, why? You were just fine. What's wrong? So this completely different person just emerged from the fourth grader that I thought was really awesome. So at this point, she just became defiant, and I had to go tell the site director. I was like, she doesn't want to do her homework. I'm not sure what to do. And it was brought to my attention that she was functionally illiterate. So I said, well, this is my first day, and if it's my first day and other folks know that she's, she can't read, like, what are we doing about that? And because she was so well behaved, people let her avoid assignments just because she was always good with her brothers. And she would get so frustrated that they would say, fine, if you don't want to do it, it's okay. So she became sort of the catalyst of like why I knew I had to be in Walnut Hills, because at first I was really upset at everyone. I'm upset at every teacher that's ever taught you. I'm upset at folks in your family. So I remember after my first day coming back, there's our director's name is Miss A.Y. Nikki Moore-Hawkins. I remember coming into her office and I'm like, I'm gonna quit that tutoring job. And she's like, did you just start that yesterday? It's your work study job. No, you're not. No, I am. It's terrible. I can't believe that we have a fourth grader that can't read, and we have children who don't have stable homes. And I just went on some tangent because I was really upset. And she's like, but isn't that why you're there? If you observe these things and you're upset about them, clearly you're passionate. So your passion should drive you to address the issue, not to walk away from it. So she became sort of the catalyst of like why I knew I had to be in Walnut Hills. And thinking about her being the oldest sibling and what it means to grow up with younger siblings and have housing stability, and you have all these issues, food insecurity. Reading is not a priority to her. Safety is a priority to her. She's one of the reasons why I'm so invested in Walnut Hills, and she's one of the people that I think about when we're making decisions at the Redevelopment Foundation. I think about her and her family, and hopefully they would benefit from the work that we're doing in the neighborhood. Because it's easier to just condemn folks into a cycle of hopelessness. But it's harder to say, how can I be there for you, and how can I help lift you up? Because we have a lot of work to be done, but it can be done.